For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At T-Mobile, we believe in putting people first by treating them right. So we're upping the benefits without upping the price. Introducing Magenta Max. Now with unlimited premium data that can't slow down based on how much smartphone data you use. Plus, get Netflix on us. Right now, pay zero cost to switch. And bring your phone. We'll pay it off up to $650. Only at T-Mobile.
Activate up to 4K or video streams at 480p. Up to 40 gigs high-speed tethering. $650 via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. SIM and support charges waived. Receive Netflix standard with 2 lines.
The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello, and welcome to the Hoop Ball DFS Today podcast. I am your host, Mike Patra, joined by my good friend Santino and here to break down this wonderful Thursday. It's March 18th. We got 6 games to talk about on a major slate. Santino fixing his mic over there, getting all set up. He's geared up. He's ready to go. We look forward to these shows. It's kind of like one of our weekly phone calls. I mean, daily phone calls. I talk to Santino pretty much every day, but just a good time. We get to talk hoops with one of my good buddies, and you guys all get to kind of listen in on it. That's pretty much what it feels like, at least when we're doing it. And sometimes we get off the rails, but Santino, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. I'm ready to get into it. We have a slow 6-gamer for the first one since we came back, I believe. I think there was a 2-game that first Wednesday, and then it's been 7 to 11 after that.
Yeah, it's like an exhale we get to get right now. It's like a nice exhale. We get to come up from under the water for a little bit, because we are one of the only shows out there that does a podcast 7 days a week. So getting one of these 6 gamers is like getting a day off for us. That's what it feels like, pretty much. So really looking forward to it. But before we jump into anything, just a quick shout out to our presenting sponsors. Guys, if you haven't checked them out, they are the number one sportsbook out there, the only sportsbook I trust. Give my stamp of approval to. It is MyBookie. So go check out mybookie.ag if you haven't already. And on your initial deposit, use that promo code HoopBall. And guess what, guys? They will give you free money to play with. Up to a 50% deposit match on up to $1,000. So you deposit $1,000, they'll give you $500 for free. Deposit $100, they'll give you $50 for free. On your initial deposit, use that promo code HoopBall. You can use that in any way, shape, or form you'd like, whether it is on an NBA, upcoming MLB season, some March Madness action, or you head over to their fully fledged casino platform, which, as you can imagine, is every single game that you can walk into and see at your local gig. So whether it's roulette, poker, blackjack, you want to play a little bit of slot machines, you can do it all there, and you can still bet on some sports. So, guys, check out MyBookie, promo code HoopBall. While you're out there, open up the other tab, get some gifts. Holiday seasons, it's summer coming up, it's spring coming up. We're talking bikini weather for us guys. Bikini weather, I said Santino, because I imagine you rocking one of those, the Borat one. But no, in all seriousness, Manscaped, guys, absolutely phenomenal products for all the male grooming needs. Use that promo code HoopBall20. You get 20% off every single product that you order, and you get the free shipping on top of it. You might be wondering, what do I need that I don't already have? You might already have it, but you don't have products like this, guys. They are all quick charging. They are waterproof. They are stupendous, and you can get that Perfect Package 3.0 kit where it comes with a little bit of everything, and it makes for a unique travel guide. So take it with you anywhere you go. Manscaped, use that promo code HoopBall20. All right, Santino, we got 6 games on the docket. The day off, as we say. Utah Jazz traveling to Washington. They're ready to take on the Wizards in this one. For the Jazz, only injury to be concerned with, it is Mike Conley, injury management, basically another fancy way to say rest. And for the Wizards, Thomas Bryant, Russell Westbrook, both ruled out. Westbrook dealing with left quadriceps soreness. And then Rui Hachimura and Mo Wagner, both questionable health and safety protocols. So that's something that we're definitely going to have to monitor with how weak this front court already is. So I'll pass it over to you. Let's what can we look forward to the Jazz with no Mike Conley?
Oh, okay. I zoned out there. You didn't stop talking for about 10 minutes, but I think we're on the Jazz and the Wizards, if I recall. Yeah, I think without Mike Conley and this matchup, it's an inviting matchup. We can look at Rudy Gobert. We could have looked at him early, even without the aforementioned people that are questionable and Wagner and Rui. But I mean, especially if they're not there, who are they going to play in the front court? Robin Lopez, Alex Len. I mean, Rudy Gobert should have a field day here. At 8,200, it's a little expensive for him, but value is. I can't expect him to get under 40 points in this one, as long as it stays within 15 points with half the fourth quarter to go. Then I think if you want to pay up for Mitchell, you can, but we can also take that discount in Jordan Clarkson or Bogdanovich. I know Bogda has been playing not great, but Clarkson's been playing pretty well, and he's going to get extra minutes without Conley. Whether this is a blowout or not, he should still see more run in the second with the second unit, and if it is a blowout, he'll see more run with that. I think my favorite two here are Gobert and Clarkson with the price tags. I don't know if I'll go too heavy on everybody else, even though it's just the Wizards is a great matchup. But I think we can attack a couple people here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is going to be, and I didn't mention it, there's no game total, there's no spread. But as we see any team that, faces Washington, they get an uptick in pace. They're going to get an uptick in their normal game total. So we can definitely look at a couple of these Utah guys. I'm with you on Gobert, especially given the slate. Some of these higher priced options, I just don't want to really spend up on. Vucevic topping over 10K, we'll get to him. So Gobert comes in as like the highest price center I do want to spend on. And you touched on it, regardless of who's in or who's out, this is a 40-point Gobert matchup if he gets 4 quarters in, regardless, in my opinion. I'll look at Clarkson. I think without Conley, he's going to be everyone's go-to. Won't start. You'll probably see Ingles start over him, and that puts Ingles in play for me as well at 5,200. Not, a fantastic point per minute guy, but knowing that he's getting that little boost from in the starting lineup, he's going to handle the ball a little bit more. And the small forward position could sometimes be a little bit of a hindrance if you're trying to build, a constructive lineup, in my opinion. I hate spending up on small forward if it's not on one of the top dogs. So Joe Ingles will be in play for me. Those are the 3 main guys I'm looking at. It seems like we're pretty much in agreement. You look like you're playing a little bit more Bogdanovich. Agreement.
What's a hindrance?
I'm making up words over here, man. You should know this by now. It's just on the fly when you just regurgitate words every single night. You just got to come up with new
Matt
ones.
Damon.
You gotta keep it spicy. I think the amount of words we created on our show is, it's got its own dictionary. It's got to be up there somewhere. But Washington side of the ball, no Russell Westbrook in this one. Most likely can expect, I'm guessing, Raul Neto to draw the start, considering he's been healthy. He was questionable coming into the night, but he did play. But Bradley Beal at 9,100 in this Utah matchup, is he somebody you can look at?
I mean, yeah, and before we even get to Beal, I want to point out Ish Smith wasn't on the injury report. It's weirdly, he's expected to miss a lot of time. Point. I don't know if he's going to be back and has a minutes limit or not, but he wasn't on the injury report. So that's something I guess we can look out for. He was expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks after that injury in, I believe, mid to late February. But people are coming back earlier. Other people are coming back later. So something to look out for. But I guess Beal is in play, just a de facto in play without Russell Westbrook. He's going to play 40-something minutes. I know this is a tough matchup, but he might take 28 to 30 shots, especially if Rui doesn't play. That's their 2 and number 3 option out. I mean, Beal's just going to chuck and try and stay close. If it does not stay competitive, then they'll rest him down the stretch. But at 9,100, you know that the usage is going to be there. Maybe not the efficiency, but definitely the usage is there. And we can look at that. And then in the front court, man, it's kind of a wait-and-see approach because you mentioned Rui and Wagner are both questionable. Wagner, or Wagner as they say, hasn't really done much lately, so that's probably going to be chopped up to Robin Lopez and Alex Len and Rui at the center position if he's playing. But him not playing kind of opens the door for Denny or Bertans or some of these other people that we can look at, but we won't fully know until later in the night. But good thing it's the first game, so we can have an eye on that.
Perfect news right there. Yep. I'm with you. A lot of those guys, those ancillary options, they're going to be good. I wouldn't say chalky cash options, but Russell Westbrook being out just opens up usage. I mean, Beal's usage is already touching on 30% on the year as is. It can only go up so much more. He's going to go from 18 to 20. Actually, the guy probably averages out. I didn't even check. I'm going to guess 22 off the top of my head shot attempts on the year. Of course, I don't have that number in front of me. Takes too much time, but he's going to get a few more shot attempts. We're going to see a lot of that trickle down, though, towards Denny, towards Bertans. Like you said, none of these centers are going to be a high usage centers regardless. So I'm expecting a lot of these wings to be taking these shot attempts. So I'm with you. I think those are good value options. Whoever starts at center is going to have their hands full, but they're going to have to go with these two big body guys anyway. Lopez and Len are probably the only two guys that would make sense to match up against Gobert, and they'll probably chop up those minutes pretty evenly. If I felt better about either one of them, I want to say Lopez, but I expect Len to play more minutes. They're both going to be in play at their price tag. So Beal and all this value, I'm on board for all of it. I probably want to go overboard with Washington. I'd finish my lineup, at most with two of these guys in there, I'm sure, but they're definitely all in play. Ready to move on to the next one?
Yep.
And I was also wondering if Ish Smith and Nwaba have like the same doctor, that they just get like the funkiest injury reports and then.
Nwaba came back and then now he's back out again. So maybe not the greatest of doctors.
Terrible second opinion. It was definitely not the best second opinion right there. Okay, we'll keep it moving though. Next game, Oklahoma City Thunder traveling to Atlanta, take on the Hawks. 7:30 Eastern Standard Time game. For the injury report on the Hawks, Clint Capella, he's questionable, dealing with that left heel soreness. He's been dealing with that all year since the preseason. And Onyeka Okongwu, also questionable, right abductor soreness. Both their centers, Chris Dunn, DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, all ruled out for the Thunder. Darius Baisley has been ruled out, along with George Hill. Newly acquired Myers Leonard will not spend a day in the uniform. He'll get that Trevor Ariza treatment, but rightfully so with him. And then Theo Maledon, questionable, dealing with the left thumb sprain. We have to keep an eye on Lujan's Dort as well. Also questionable, left great toe sprain. So this game's going to be a little bit of a unique one. One that I think is going to draw more attention fantasy-wise and DFS-wise than it rightfully so. But let me get your take on it and who are you looking at in Oklahoma?
Yeah, and it's another thing. And before I say it, the weird thing that I saw is as of this podcast, we have spreads of 3 of the 6 games, and they all happen to be the 10 o'clock and later games. We don't have any spreads for the early
makes sense, right?
Really weird. But just like the last game, this is another game that we need to keep an eye on, and hopefully we have that news before lock. But big players on both teams that are out or that are questionable, and Theo and Dort. If Dort doesn't play, or Theo, or one of those two, we're going to see a change in the lineup again. And we know Baisley's already out, so that is probably going to put Isaiah Roby in the starting lineup. I would say Moses Brown is strictly a center, and with Al Horford here, Al Horford probably will play center unless we want to go super big. But I would expect Roby or Pokemon to enter in the lineup here. But if Dort misses, that means Pokemon is going to start at small forward again. If Theo misses, Ty Jerome probably starts at shooting guard. Or if Dort plays, I mean, I can go on, but there's a lot of different combinations that this team is going to be offering. And as of now, I think Shea is a good play. I know he's 9K, but anytime you're going against Trae Young, you are in play here, and he's coming off an underwhelming game. He didn't do anything with assists or rebounds like he normally does. He shot 10 of 17, very efficient. He only took 1 3 and missed it, and scored 21 points. I mean, he didn't play bad, but he just was not where we wanted him to be. But for here, I think he could against Trae Young. I mean, you can look at him. But outside of that, honestly, it just depends on this injury report. Because if they're fully healthy, I would expect Shea, Theo, Dort, probably Roby, and Horford start. So you look at Pokemon and Moses Brown, two people that are jumping up a little bit. Ty Jerome, those are the people that I would keep an eye on, especially Ty Jerome if Theo doesn't play. I like this kid. I think he's better for fantasy than Theo Maledon, and I think he might be a little bit better right now than Theo Maledon. So I'm hoping Theo misses and I can get some Ty Jerome exposure. But it all depends on this injury report on this side. And likewise on the other side.
I couldn't break it down any better myself. So I know that's going to be like the cliche, take me out of this cop out, but you pretty much gave every example of what a lineup could be with somebody out. Yeah, you broke it down perfectly. I don't think our listeners could ask for any more because you broke down every situation and what we can expect and who we'd be looking at. So, yeah, I'm going to say everything that you said I agree with. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's the pivot off of Bradley Beal for me in tournaments. You know, if I'm not playing Beal, I think Beal makes more sense just from a cash standpoint, just with that usage you touched on it. But Shai, we know his upside as well. He's going to get low ownership compared to Beal. It's still a fantastic matchup. So he makes a fair amount of sense if you wanted to pivot off of that and look there. Outside of that, I'm with you. I got to wait on this injury news, but I'd be looking at guys like Pokemon, Roby. I'm with you. Rather see Jerome in the starting lineup over Maledon. Maledon basically just a scoring output with some steals. Jerome has a little bit more of a complete game and being able to spend I think it's been 2 years in the G League now. 1 year, 2 years in the G League. Before he came up, bouncing back and up and down from the Suns. You get some experience under your belt. So he's a little bit more NBA ready. I agree with you there. And I will be fading Moses Brown with Horford back. So on the Atlanta side of the ball, Trae Young topping out at just under 10K, 9,900. One of the pricier guys on the slate. But again, we know it's just like we talked about Shai. It's a fantastic matchup going against this OKC team that's pretty much just looking to shop all their guys for draft picks. They must have about 20 second-round picks at this point now.
I think I saw a stat that they had 19 picks over the next 6 years. Maybe it was, I don't know if it was first or second. I can't imagine first, but I believe 19 picks over the next 6 years. And I think that might have been before the trade that they just did. So they might be in the 20s now, which is insane. But
not
just
done
like
either.
And yeah, they're not done. They still have. I don't know if Al Horford gets traded now or in the offseason. He's going to get traded soon. I would lean towards the offseason because he's an expiring contract next year, and that just makes more sense. But George Hill's probably on his way out, assuming he can get back to health. And then I don't think they really care who else is out except Shai, Pokemon. Those are probably and Dort. Those are probably the three that are untouchable right now for them.
Yeah,
but oh, my bad.
No, I was going to say, I mean, those they traded for Shai. That's the thing. Pressey, he's a genius when it comes to the rebuilds. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to build an actual foundational core team that's going to be able to last a few years, except for when you have to decide between paying Kendrick Perkins or James Harden. Then things get a little bit more difficult. But this guy's just stacking them. He's just stacking picks left and right. And you're right, George Hill's going to be on his way out. That's going to be picks. Eventually, Horford's going to be on his way out. That's going to be picks. Their future is going to be. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
All these picks, they're not going to draft people with all these picks. These picks are going to amount to a superstar type talent that wants to leave a team. I don't know who. I don't have a name for you right now, but they are going to be in the driver's seat if, say, a Bradley Beal wants out. They're in the driver's seat because they have picks on picks on picks that are going to be very enticing to a franchise that is getting sour on a superstar. They might not be competitive, but that'll change when they get someone big. And they're not drafting with all these, 19 plus picks. All these picks aren't going to OKC. They're going somewhere else.
Yeah, they don't have. I don't think they have enough draft hats and T-shirts for that anyway. They wouldn't be able to do that on draft night. They would just run out of shirts and just give people pieces of tape to hold up.
They'll have to stash the European picks so they don't have them on their team.
All right. Well, on the Hawks side of the ball, definitely some things like we were talking about. Trae Young on here. I'm keeping my eye on Bogdanovich. We're not kind of seeing that necessarily the minutes that we want to with all these guys injured. We imagined that this guy would be touching on 30 minutes by now. It's taken some time to work his way back up, and they're kind of being very cautious with him, it seems. Not very high usage, but I'm keeping him in my player pool at 4,100. He's still definitely an option that I'll keep in there. Probably reserve him for GPPs. Can't trust him enough for cash. Outside of that, if Capella plays, he's in play. If he doesn't play, John Collins is in play. That's pretty much how I'm looking at this.
Yeah. Another thing with Capella, you have to watch this news. If Capella doesn't play, it gives the front court boost on the Thunder, or the Thunder's front court a little boost too. But John Collins would become back in play, 7,200. If you really want to bargain bin without Capella, Nathan Knight's been playing pretty well, only 3,500. He's played 22 and 23 minutes the last two games and played pretty well both times. Scored in the mid-teens, grabbed some rebounds, blocked some shots. The kid can play pretty well if he's seeing 20-something minutes, especially in this type of matchup. So I don't mind that. But if Capella's there, I think Capella makes sense if he's not on a minutes limit at 7-6. We're finally getting him back to that discount price. But I'm not too huge on everybody else. Or if you like Gallinari without Capella and he's starting playing 36 or 30-something minutes like he's been playing against his former team, maybe you give that a look too. But I'm not – at some point, his injuries have been catching up to him, so I'm not fully sold on that yet.
Yeah. I also want to keep an eye on Okongwu. I think him being out would certainly help Knight as well. We kind of want, I think, we don't need both those guys to be out to play Knight, but it certainly gives him that 20-minute like floor, I feel, and that's kind of when we're going to see the most value on him. But I'm with you. Some very, very good options over here on the Hawks. We'll keep it moving, though. Next game, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time game. Orlando Magic traveling to New York. They're taking on the Knicks in this one. Far as an injury report, just give me one moment as I apologize. My computer being the worst thing on the face of the earth.
I got it for you.
Yep, you got it, Santino? Because
we got Cole Anthony, James Ennis, Markelle Fultz, Jonathan Isaac all out, and Evan Fournier, Aaron Gordon, Terrence Ross all questionable. Another game where a lot of things matter. But on the Knicks side of the ball, we have Derrick Rose, Mitch Robb, Austin Rivers all out. Elfrid Payton doubtful once again, and Emmanuel Quickley as questionable. He left the game in that last one, he left a little bit in the last one, returned, but maybe it creeped up at night that it got sore on there. So definitely something that we're going to have to watch out for in that backcourt. But yeah, that's the injury report.
Boom. Santino coming in clutch right there, but I appreciate it. You know that my hardware over here isn't the best, and sometimes now it sucks. Yeah,
someone said that they were rebooting it and doing all this work a couple weeks ago.
I did.
I don't think it happened.
It worked. It was like running like clear and smooth for like a month and a half, and now I think it's because once I start putting some more files in there, I just got to delete them as I go. I guess maybe that's the call. I had a ton on there, but either way, let's talk about the Orlando Magic team. Looking at them coming in here, obviously we're going to need to wait on some information and all this, but this is a tough matchup that they're walking into. This is a very, very underwhelming game that I'm expecting a low game total, probably the lowest game total on the night. We don't have it yet. We'll have to wait and see. Nonetheless, not a lot of options I'm really looking at on this team. So if you wanted to take a stab at Vucevic at 10K, don't blame you. I think that there's some other guys I'd rather spend up on.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And, I don't know how much Aaron Gordon and Evan Fournier are going to play, even if they do play. Just don't like the matchup. I'm with you.
Yeah, and the replacement options are guys that we don't like, that don't have usage and aren't very good at basketball. No matter what the most marketable man in wrestling says, Dwayne Bacon, you are not good. So we'll keep talking, though. On the Knicks side, Julius Randle, 10K, pretty much matching Vucevic. For everything that we said about Vucevic, I almost want to say the same thing about Randle. The guy can go out there and triple-double. Don't get me wrong. Just there's guys I'd rather spend up on, higher game totals, all that said. But where we can take advantage is going to be this guard position of what they do. If all these point guards are out, they really don't have much to go with other than Frank Ntilikina. He'll probably draw that start at 3K. He's definitely an option, not a high point per minute guy, but at bottom of the barrel salary, 3K, knowing that he'd probably play 30-plus minutes. He's definitely in play. And then we'll see a trickle down. Alec Burks at 4,900, he'll get significant minutes. And then we should see, RJ Barrett play his normal 39 to 40 that he was playing early on in the season. But as all these guards came back, we started seeing him get dialed back a little bit in the fourth quarter. But between those three guards, if Quickly's out, all three of them are very much in play. And I still think you could play Burks either way.
Yeah, if Quickly's out, I see at least 15 minutes of point guard from Alec Burks. We're starting to play him as a third point guard anyway, with Quickly in there. Frankie the Tank hasn't played too much. I think he's played 15, 16 minutes the last two games or so. But Burks has been playing more, and he closed out that last game also. He played 36 minutes. The only people that played that or more minutes than him in the last one were Julius Randle and RJ Barrett, the two guys that don't leave the court sometimes. So I think Alec Burks at 4,900, especially if Manuel Quickly isn't there. If Quickly isn't there, he is a guy that I'm going to target very heavily. If Quickly is there, it kind of I can't even say the word.
Look at you now. You're struggling with the word. That's what you get. That's what you get. I was going to
say dissipate, but I don't know if that's the correct word, so I stopped twice. But yeah, it kind of loses a little bit of luster, but I still like him there. Quickly plays. I think Quickly can score pretty quickly. No pun fully intended against this team. Outside of that, I think I'm with you. I think Barrett, Quickly, Burks, they're all in play for me. Maybe even Reggie Bullock if there's no Quickly. That means there's just extra minutes for him too. But I'm not. You can look at Frank. I just don't think he translates too much on this particular team.
Yeah, he's not good. we don't think he's good. He's not good at basketball.
I think he's pretty good. I just don't.
He's good at defense. I'll give him that. He doesn't
handle the ball enough to do anything other than play good defense on this. Even when he's starting at point guard, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, the offense is running through him. So the fantasy numbers for Frankie don't really add up here.
Frankie, our boy Frankie. Next game, New Orleans Pelicans travel to Portland. They're going to take out the Blazers in this one. We do have a game total.
Match.
Yeah, we do have a game total in this one. Santino's going to tell you it because obviously my computer just loves me so much right now that anytime I try to click into a different tab, it just wants to give me the spinning wheel of death. So Santino, can you please hit the good people with the injury report and the game total? And I think you're just going to have to take that forward for the rest of the show. Apologize.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. So we have a whopping 242 total for this game. And the Blazers are 3-point home favorites. Again, a whopping 242 total in this game. And the Blazers are 3-point favorites. And on the injury report, we have, just for the Pelicans, J.J. Redick is out. On the Blazers, we have Nurkic, Collins out, and Harry Styles III is now probable.
Can't stand you sometimes, but all right, we'll start with the Pelicans. We'll start with the away team. Zion coming in here, highest price guy, 8,900. That's just slightly below what we're used to seeing as of late for Zion. Definitely a plus matchup when we're talking about it. He's going to have his hands full with Covington, but Zion's size is just something that's kind of unguardable at this point. It doesn't matter who you are. He could pretty much use it against you and bully you. So he's definitely going to be a good option. If you want to look at Ingram, don't mind him. He just hasn't necessarily been the same type of player this year. With Zion playing every single game almost, Lonzo actually developing a three-point shot, they just don't need to rely on him as much. Still, second highest on the team in usage, so I continue to expect to see these up and down games from him. Just don't know if I'll land on him at 8,100 tonight. And then I want to look at Nikhil Alexander-Walker. Decent bounce-back spot for him. Really, really struggling after that last game. Kind of felt like he cost his team a win. Felt like he was kind of like a big X factor, and he's posted Instagram photos and saying how, this leads to developing better character and a better comeback and all this. So look for a motivated Nikhil Alexander-Walker in this one. And with J.J. Redick out, we should continue to see him playing 20-plus minutes.
And we do have to mention, I forgot to mention it before, we know the Wizards are on the back end of a back-to-back. The Jazz, Magic, and now the Blazers are all on the front end of a back-to-back. So keep an eye on that. But on the Pelican side, that's where we are. I think we can go back to the well that we did a couple nights ago. Zion is a very good matchup. This is a very good matchup for Zion. This is going to be a super, super fast-paced game once again, like we saw in the last one. And if you don't believe that, just look at that whopping 242 total. That's why I repeated it. And Lonzo, man, he's going against Dame Lillard. Dame Lillard does not play the greatest of defense. I'm very big on Lonzo. This is just a fantastic matchup. Once again, dude had 17 assists last game. He had 16 assists through three quarters. And then he got Stan Van Gundy'd in that fourth quarter, or he would have been well over 50 points in that last game, 50 fantasy points. So I think we could look at those two for sure. Steven Adams isn't. If you're going deep, I mean, he just doesn't fit on this team. I'm sorry. Him and Eric Bledsoe, that was just a bad trade, just a very bad trade. But those are my two favorites. And yeah, I get you can look at Walker because it is going to be a fast-paced game. This is the type of game that is good for him. He takes a lot of shots. When he gets hot, he's hot. and this is going to be an up and down, just gunning of a game, and there's no JJ Redick. So at 42, he should have some solid chances here. And Josh Hart, don't hate Josh Hart. Probably not going to go to his direction, but he could be a GPP pivot at 5,300. He should see extra minutes in this one too. He only played 28 in the last one. Still put up over or nearly 35 fantasy points. It's a good matchup.
All right, we'll slide over to the Portland side of the ball. Looking at Dame Lillard, 11K, a little bit too rich for me. I know you're probably going to have some interest, and I don't fault you for it. I just already talked about, either kind of going a little bit middle of the road. If I have the money, I don't mind spending it, especially because of this game total. But 11K, we're getting up there. Coming off of one of his best performances that we've seen of recent day, a 50 actual point game. We're 18 for 18 from the line. Dude was just lights out, getting all the respect from his peers that he could possibly get. Some of the best players in the game, just recognizing game. So I won't fault you. But for me, I'm going to be looking at some of these ancillary guys. I think, McCollum slowly getting his minutes back up. He played 26 in his first game back. What can we expect from this one? Probably a slow uptick, maybe 28 to 30, maybe 32 at most if this game stays close. But he's lightning in a bottle. This dude, as soon as he gets hot, he can get hot. He's still CJ McCollum at 74. Do I have a ton of shares of him? No, but I will have him in 1 or 2 GPPs. Don't trust him enough in cash. But Cantor is one guy I do want to look at, just because this dude just is a force to be reckoned with. It's a tough matchup. He's coming off of 2 sort of down games. But I don't mind taking a look at him, just knowing that he has that upside of just a 15 and 15 type game. So I'll take some stabs at him. But as we talk about this, man, it's tough. I don't really like a lot of these Portland guys, especially with CJ coming back. It just eats into a lot of this usage.
Yeah, I'm only going one place, and it's the same place I said last time. Going right back to Dame. You could be scared off. Oh, you could be scared off by that 70 points, thinking he's not going to score 50 points again. But if we're being honest, that he played the Pelicans twice. That was the second time he played the Pelicans, and he scored less fantasy points last night or the other night than he did in the first game. He scored 79 fantasy points in the first game. This is just a fantastic matchup for him. I don't think he'll drop 50 actual points again, but he will. I can't see him getting below 60 points. You're going to get exactly what you pay for him. With CJ McCollum back, he is not the sole target for a defense anymore. You have to respect CJ McCollum. When Nurkic comes back, you also have to respect him. He's still going to get an absurd amount of defensive attention, especially after what he did. But this is just a fantastic up-pace matchup for him, and I expect maybe not a repeat performance from 50 points, but I expect him leading the slate again in fantasy points. I just think him or the guy that we're going to get to in the last game, because the rookie Melo had to say something kind of disrespectful. Not disrespectful, but LeBron's gonna take it that way.
Yeah, he's gonna. I can't wait to get to that one. But next game though, we'll keep it moving. The next 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game. Minnesota Timberwolves travel to Phoenix, take on the Suns. Santino is gonna hit us with that injury report. What? The injury report. And why don't you hit us with a game total and a spread while you're at it too, because I can't switch tabs.
All right. So we have a 228 game total, and the Suns are 9.5 home favorites here. We have Malik Beasley, Jordan McLaughlin, and D'Angelo Russell as out, Jarrett Culver as doubtful for the Wolves. And on the Suns side, we have Cam Johnson as out and Abdel Nader as questionable.
All right.
And I'll jump into it on the Wolves side. So this is just a tough matchup for a team that's been playing better. They've been playing a lot better defense. Cat especially, ever since Chris Finch came, he has turned it up on the defensive end, and good for him. But I don't want to pay $9,400 for him in this matchup. Looking at the other people that we have on the slate, I'm okay with that. I don't really want to play Anthony Edwards. I really don't want to play anybody on this side of the ball. It might turn into a blowout. It might not. You could look at the Ricky Rubio revenge narrative. I'm not. I'm gonna leave this side of the ball alone.
Yeah, it's tough to go for the revenge narrative against the guy that will eat, your revenge narrative up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, being Chris Paul. So yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't really want to target Rubio too much, but hey, I'm the first guy to mention the narrative. So if you want to go that way, I won't blame you. I'm not looking at much over here. I'm expecting this game to pretty much get out of hand. And if I'm looking at anyone, it's in the circumstance of a blowout, and it'd be someone like Naz Reid, just playing like 22, 23 minutes in a blowout. And he's a point per minute guy that can get Reid at 3,700, bring back 25 to even 30 in that type of workload. So that's it. What about on this Phoenix Suns team? Because I know I interrupted you rudely, and I will say I was rude, Santino. When you were given that injury report, I don't think I heard you get the Phoenix yet.
Oh yeah, Cam Johnson is out and Abdel Nader is questionable.
Oh yes, you did. I'm sorry, you're right. So we'll jump right into the Phoenix side of things, and like we just said, I'm not expecting this game to stay too close. When I look at DeAndre Ayton though at 6,200, that is a pretty enticing price tag. His play hasn't been the greatest of late. The minutes have been down, but if we look, a lot of these games that the minutes are down in, there are these games that get completely out of hand, but he's still generally getting roughly around 30 DK points in there. So if you want to play this game as though there's the chance that it gets out of hand, he still has a pretty comfortable floor even in 20 to 25 minutes, especially going against Cat, not a matchup that necessarily scares me. And if it stays close, he's going to probably play 30 plus, and he should be able to pay off that $6,200 price tag pretty easily. So I don't mind taking a couple stabs at a guy like DeAndre Ayton. Other than that, it's going to be some of these bench options like Dario Saric and maybe like Jay Crowder. But you could look at campaign if Nader's out again, but probably won't even end up there.
Yeah, I'll probably look at more of the bench options. Maybe Mikal Bridges. I think that's a decent matchup for him. And he's only 5,200. I would love to play Booker. I just don't know how close this game plays or stays the entire time, that I don't want to pay 7,900 when I know I like some people a little bit more expensive. I'm probably not going to have too much exposure outside of, you mentioned like Saric, probably Bridges, Cam Johnson, or Campaign. Those are the three guys I like. I don't really like Ayton for the reason I mentioned earlier. Cat has been a top 5 defensive or front court defensive player since Chris Finch came, and he's looking really good on that end of the floor, and Ayton kind of stinks.
You do hate DeAndre Ayton.
I like him, but he's better in real life now than fantasy.
Well, the thing is, when you look at DeAndre Ayton, you watch him play, he kind of like, there's spurts where he looks like, a dude that was taken first overall, and like he's 20-something years old. And then you look at his face, and then there's some moments where you're like, is that a 44-year-old guy actually playing in the NBA right now? And that's the way he moves at some point. So he turns it on and turns it off. And that's one thing we've heard Chris Paul mention throughout the season, that they're just trying to keep that switch on. That this dude just lacks confidence, and there's things like that. And he's learning how to play. And when he's playing alongside of guys like Chris Paul and Devin Booker, who are clear-cut all-stars, he doesn't have the confidence like he's the most dominant player.
Well, was Devin Booker clear-cut? Because he didn't make it originally.
He was on there.
Yeah, injury replacement. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
not that I did agreed with that.
All our Phoenix Suns listeners, just go out his Twitter at Santino Cacone.
I think he's an all-star. I'm just saying it wasn't clear cut.
You can't backpedal on that one. They already heard it. The hate's coming. Don't worry. The troops will storm you on your Twitter account. But let's get into this final game. 10:30 Eastern Standard Time game. Charlotte Hornets traveling to LA, take on Santino's Lakers. And this one, whoa, Santino, you're not going to believe it. I got my tab open. It worked. No injury report. Hornets for the Lakers. Kostas Antetokounmpo, Alex Caruso, Anthony Davis, Jared Dudley, Marcus Gasol all ruled out, while LeBron James and Markieff Morris are both probable. 227.5 game total. Lakers favored by 6.5 points. Santino, Charlotte Hornets. I know you're dying to talk about it, so why don't you hit us with the news?
Before I get there, I do have to say I think you spelled Kostas. I think you said his name right. I don't know what it is. I can't Antetokounmpo. I can spell it with my eyes closed. I just can't say the name, and I don't know what's wrong.
Those Greeks, man.
I just can't say it. Antetokounmpo. I don't know why I can't say it, but I can spell it.
Now you're making me mess it up. Antetokounmpo.
If it was a spelling bee, I could spell it in 3 seconds. I just can't. I don't know why. Every time I try and say it, I get messed up. Right where I go Antetokounmpo. Yeah. And I'm like, it doesn't come out. I don't know. But I had to give you props for that.
Work on it. I appreciate that, because I'll butcher a few names here and there for sure. I don't dodge it. But there's one player I've been following since the moment he stepped foot in the NBA. It was Giannis.
That's good.
It was
I'm
Giannis.
a fan of this fan anyway.
Big Kostas guy too. I love how the Mavs drafted him just because they were super pissed that they missed on Giannis by 1 pick. And they were like, yeah, his brother's coming. Mark Cuban, they talked about it. There's reports of, Don Nelson, Cuban, And whoever was in the front office at that time, there was somebody that was saying, we need to trade up for Giannis. We need to trade up for Giannis. And they were like, no. And they regret it to this day. They still talk about that. And that's pretty much the only reason they drafted his brother. Realized it wasn't the same. Just doesn't work like that. All the genes went to him. But break down the Hornets for us. I know you were dying to talk about some news, some rumbling that you heard.
Yeah, so it's tricky. This is the second game of a back-to-back for them. Oh, and we forgot to mention the Wolves and Suns are both on the front end of a back-to-back, which will be a repeat on Friday. That's pretty cool. I almost said cool. That's pretty cool. But the Hornets are on the back end of a back-to-back. While we're doing this, they are currently nearing the fourth quarter right now. So we'll see if anybody winds up on the injury report tomorrow, or maybe Devontae Graham since he just came back. But yeah, LaMelo, the whole thing was LaMelo said he's not excited to play against LeBron, give or take. Maybe that's paraphrasing and nicely. Not a disrespectful thing to say, but it's like, ooh, you're playing against the best player in the world for the last however many years. You kind of don't want to take that jab at him right now. Bear. Yeah, you don't want to just go there for no reason. Just say, yeah, I love to play against the best people, and that's just going to light something.
QuickBooks slowing your business down? Do you have challenges managing inventory, project profitability, or just getting paid fast enough? Get your business to a better place and graduate to NetSuite today. Stop paying for multiple systems that don't give you the information you need when you need it. Ditch the spreadsheets and all the old software you've outgrown. Now is the time to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Everything you need, all in one place, instantaneously. Whether you're doing $1 million or hundreds of millions in revenue, save time and money with NetSuite.
Join the over 24,000 companies using NetSuite right now. Let NetSuite show you how they'll benefit your business with a free product tour at netsuite.com/info. Schedule your free product tour right now at netsuite.com/info, netsuite.com/info.
On LeBron, if there's ever a chance that he could throw it down on him, if I'm LaMelo Ball, I'm going to hide. That's where I would be going. But
what was it? Steph Curry did that at the All-Star game when Giannis was dunking it that one year. Just tucked his head between his legs and sat underneath the hoop and put his head down. I'm right there with you, man. I'm fully expecting LeBron James to just stick it to LaMelo and look at the camera.
Entire Ball family.
Well, that's the thing. It's
not
LA.
The entire family. Him and Melo and his dad.
Yeah,
just stick it to him.
It's in LA. He's no fans, and that's a good thing probably for LaMelo, because if his father was courtside in this and LeBron's just sticking it, he's going to look right at LaMelo and just say, get your dad. Where's your daddy? Yeah. And that's exactly what's going to happen, in my opinion. 8,300 is still a pretty enticing price tag. Given the matchup, I expect LaMelo to play well regardless. It's not like him and LeBron James are going to be guarding each other necessarily. LeBron's going to come out here and put up an absolutely great performance. But LA, brings out the best of some people, and this is his turf. So I'm expecting a pretty good game from LaMelo, 8,300. I really like that price tag.
Yeah, and I don't hate that price tag either. I think we do have other options there, so you don't have to force it. But the Lakers can be exploited at that point guard position right now, and he's been playing really well. So I don't mind going there. I don't mind going Terry Rozier at 6'6" either. This is a guy that was in the mid 8.5 Ks, 8.5 range a month or so ago before the All-Star break. And I think this is a pretty solid discount if you want to go there. Not too keen on the rest of the guys, though. I don't hate Hayward, but I just think there's better alternatives in a more friendlier environment.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with you. I wouldn't really target anywhere else. I was thinking, right now during the time being, I would look at the front court. But I haven't played PJ Washington anything more than once, and Cody Zeller just doesn't really get me excited, especially with some of these other options.
Weird. No,
yeah, Santino's laughing because I have Cody Zeller on our super deep fantasy league. Keyword super deep. It's not a standard roster, by the way. I will say, and Santino will back me up on this. Don't play just standard roster league, guys. Come on, have some fun. Go deep with it. Get some players where you're not messaging people asking who do I drop, Tyrese Halliburton or like Mike Conley. Yeah. All these guys should be owned. I like the deep leagues, but do whatever you like. Do whatever you enjoy.
It's got to be at least 200 deep in any sport, or it's not that fun.
It's not real. No. Whatever you enjoy, whatever you have the most fun doing with your league. But again, if you're listening to this show, odds are you already take the time and do an extra research than other people you may know. So make it deeper. Get that advantage. Lakers side of the ball, we both touched on LeBron. I'm guessing we both love him. We're both going to be playing him. And that's kind of my sentiment, and that's kind of why I'm a little bit less on Dame. I'm going to have my lineups with a fair amount of Bradley Beal and a fair amount of LeBron James, is the way that my initial builds are starting. I'd love to get LaMelo in there too. It's going to be tough to have that and kind of work that value. But as we've seen throughout the whole year, the value opens up an hour before the slate. 7 guys get ruled out. All of a sudden, we got multiple 3K options to choose from. So I'll keep it open, but I'm definitely on LeBron. Outside of him, I think it's a good matchup to take advantage of Schroeder. Going against Devontae Graham in that second unit, he should just be able to chew him up. And I would expect, this to be a high shot attempt game from Schroeder. Over the past 3 games, 11, 5, and 11. That's out of the norm for this guy. I'd expect this to tip back up to 15-plus shot attempts in this matchup, and I fully want to exploit him in here.
Yeah, I think Schroeder's a solid play. I think Hero gets a solid boost going against Zeller and whatnot. And if you're digging deep in the bargain bin, Taylon Horton Tucker, he's played a solid role the last 2 games, 28 and 26. I know they both turned into blowouts, but this is going to be a fast-paced game, and this guy's played pretty well the last 2 games. I expect him. It looks like he might have earned himself a couple extra minutes until they get fully healthy. Maybe play himself into a 21-minute role. And in this type of environment at 3,900, he's a guy I could look at, especially since Alex Caruso's out again. I don't know if did we say the injury report for this one? Oh, no, you did. Yeah, you did. My bad.
No, see, look at that. You make me feel better when I asked you if you did the Suns one, and then you had to repeat it twice. So we're just echoes out here, man. That's what we do. A couple echoes. But I'm with you. I think Harrell's a fantastic player. You can always look for the consistent minutes with him is what we look for. And just going against that front court, it's pretty weak. Cody Zeller doesn't scare me off. Bismack Biyombo, he's a solid defender. And anytime PJ Washington goes to 5, Harrell will use. They're almost the same size, him and PJ Washington. But has a lot more size on him, and it plays a lot more of aggressive bully ball. So he would chew PJ Washington up in that matchup, in my fair opinion. But that's it, man. That's the slate. That's it all broken down. We're going to jump into the fun part. We're going to give our tiers. Santino, we'll start with you. Hit us with your expensive tier guy.
Yeah, and it's a toss-up depending on where you want to go. But I know I don't love to do this, but I'm sticking right at the top of the card. I'm going with Lillard or LeBron, and I don't think either of them are a bad option. Other people, you mentioned it before. You like Beal at the discount, but I just think these 2 guys are 60 points, just safe for 60, and there's no way that they're going to get under it. I just don't see it. So I'll go with Dame and just say he's averaging the first game he played against Portland, he scored 79 fantasy points, and then last night or the other night he scored 75. We might be in it for a third 70. It's just a fantastic matchup.
Yeah, I like how you said Dame and LeBron, just so I just don't have one. Appreciate that.
Well, you and Will do the same thing. Like, you can't like the same person. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, we want to spread it out there because if we just say the same guy, there's no point. But you also said
what do you mean there's no point? That means we just really like this guy.
Well, we do.
Right.
We do. But you mentioned Beal too, and that's the guy I was going to go with anyway at 91. I do love Dame. I do love LeBron. I like LeBron a little bit more than Dame, as I said, but Beal is up there for me at 9,100 as well. Just all that usage. The matchup, it's going to be a tough one, but their best perimeter defender is Conley, in fact, and he's also going to be off the floor. So I will be looking at some Bradley Beal. Let's go to the mid-tier, though. Who are you looking at? I think we kind of determined mid-tier, being somewhere between, 5 and 75, and 75 even being a little bit on the high side.
Are we doing a higher mid-tier and a lower mid-tier, or
just go mid-tier? So let's say we just switch it every day. We're waiting for listeners to kind of tweet at us, or when you give us a 5-star rate and review, maybe say your suggestion, what you think these tiers should be. Again, we're trying to provide the best content for you guys, so you let us know what you want to hear. So we'll say 5 to 7 will be our mid-tier today.
5 to 7. All right. Well, I'll throw two at you then. I'm going to stay right at the top of the mid tier. I'm going back to the Zoe, the ball that I can get behind here. And it's 69. Just again, man, a fantastic matchup. It's just going to be the fastest game of the night by far. And I don't expect him to be sitting pretty much the entire fourth quarter again. So I think a 40-point game is well within, or 40-point game is what I'm expecting, and 50 points is well within reach for him.
All right, can't blame you there. You are like the Lonzo Ball whisperer too. You call a lot of his games, man. I got to give you credit. And maybe it's when you had to watch those suffering Lakers for a few years. But hey, I'm with you. If you say you have confidence in Lonzo Ball in that matchup, I'm going to keep him in my player pool. I'm going to go back to the guy we just talked about, and that's Dennis Schroeder at 6,200. I'm definitely very interested in him. Any of my lineups that don't have LeBron will probably have Schroeder, and I'll even have a couple with both of them in there. Easily they can both hit their value with no questions asked. But I'm very high on Schroeder.
Let's make a bet. That's what you guys do every time.
Yeah, we do. I don't want to do that one though. I prefer Ball over Schroeder. I think you win that bet pretty handedly. So I just don't feel like taking that one off the chin right now. But yeah. I'll cop out. I did just beat Bretton again though. It's worth mentioning just while Bretton, if you're listening, you have been. I think Bretton's like over 9 on his podcast bets. Not even just with me. I think he lost with Will. He's been getting taken out left and right. But we'll go to the value tier. Anything under 4,900, we'll say, it will be our value play. So who are you looking at under 49?
Honestly, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know at the moment. Because, I mean, we're going to be looking at Washington for a lot of value, and it depends on if people are in or out. The Thunder value is going to open up, like we mentioned before. The Hawks, we might look at Nathan Knight again if everybody in the front court is out. Alec Burks, mentioned him before. He's at the exact 4,900. What if Emmanuel Quickly misses and Elfrid Payton misses? I know this is like a cop-out thing to say, but there's a lot of these options are maybes for me, and I don't fully know as of this second. If I had to throw in someone that I feel semi-comfortable with, it would be Ty Jerome at 4,300. I just think one of Dort or Theo are going to miss, and that opens up some extra playing time for him in a very good matchup against the Atlanta backcourt. But again, watch both of them play, and then I'm not on them anymore.
That just felt like the longest stalled before you pick somebody. That's what that was.
Well, I don't know. As of right now, there's so many different options.
We hear the clicking in the background as you're. No, I know you're right. We're just waiting on a lot of news. It's tough to just say here and say which Wizards guy and all this that. Obviously, if we had this news prior, those would be probably our top options. But I'm going to go with kind of the same sentiment. I'm going to go with Nikhil Alexander-Walker. I do like this bounce back spot for him. 4,200 is a good price tag. No JJ Redick, looking at probably 22 to 24 minutes. High game total, high usage off the bench. So he's a guy that, regardless of the news, I think I could still play at 4,200. And, maybe sprinkle him in there a little bit with some of this, other news that we get if somebody gets ruled out. That's it. That's the show. Those are the tiers. If you guys have a second, if you give us a 5-star rate review, screenshot it. Tag us on Twitter, whether it's me, Santino, anybody on the Hoopball team, podcast team, DFS Today, or even Dan Bespris. And we got some free goodies for you. We're going to be doing a drawing. So if you do that, you screenshot it, give us a 5-star rating, screenshot it, tag us, let us know, and you'll be entered. So we're going to be holding this over the next couple of weeks. Anybody who does it will get entered in, and we'll draw a winner. The winner gets a free subscription to the Fantasy Pass. So a monthly subscription for free. Access to our Discord, behind the scenes, behind the paywall stuff, everything we got going on over here for free. All you got to do is 5-star rate and review. If you did it already on your phone, maybe it was a couple weeks ago, maybe it was a year or two ago when we first started this, just steal someone else's phone in your house, ask a stranger on the bus, whatever it may be, and we'll take it. It's all the same. We see the love and the sentiment is there. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can find me at Mike Apotria, MikeApotria. You can find Santino at Santino Caccone, SANTINOCACCONE. That's all we have.
Well, one more. Right after you said it, I just realized another guy that I liked that regardless of news, Taylon Horton Tucker. Forgot I just mentioned him. 3,900. Wow. Good matchup.
You know what I love about that? There might have been some people that stopped listening. They might have just heard us going.
Yeah,
with
they might have missed it, but I remembered him after that.
One.
Regardless of news, that's a guy that I can look at under 4K.
Ooh, there you go. So hopefully you didn't skedaddle too quickly. You might have skedaddle. You might have, and you might have missed out on Santino's Taylon Horton Tucker call. He likes him. Nonetheless, that's how we're gonna leave on it. On Taylon Horton Tucker, from Taylon Horton Tucker, from Santino, from me, Mike Apatrio. Thank you guys for listening at DFS today. We'll be back tomorrow. It'll be Bretton. It'll be Dave. They'll be sprinkling some magic sauce on you guys. Take care, and let's go crush some GPPs.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.